All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and kick off this morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brent Seavey. I'm Vice President of Business Development here at Accelerate, and we have a lot of the crew on board this morning. It's going to be a fun morning. We like to do these about 5 or 6 times a year, 7 times a year, just kind of get together with the community, give everybody a chance to meet us, understand where we came from, why we do what we do, how we do what we do. And just a general outreach. We really pride ourselves on being very connected to our community and being very, very accessible and approachable. So we appreciate your joining us, and time to kick off the virtual town hall.
And one thing is, we're also going to be recording as well, which we are right now. The reason for that is we're going to send this out to everybody. So in case you wanted to listen back, for folks that maybe registered but didn't get an opportunity to join, just a point of reference for everybody. We do encourage people to ask questions in the chat. Raise your hand if you want to speak. There's going to be a couple points throughout the meeting, or throughout the town hall, where we'll have a kind of like a discussion break. There should be a lot of people coming in right after today. So normally we like to say, let's make this super informal, just go ahead but with this many people, we want to kind of make it a little more structured. And so we'll give a couple opportunities throughout the town hall for everyone to ask questions. And we do encourage you to ask questions, because oftentimes there's probably several other people on the call that probably have the same question and might not want to ask it. So we do really encourage the questions. We all learn from each other.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of the chat. And we've got folks watching the chat as well, so they'll be responding. But we'll bring up the chat questions a couple of times during the call, just to kind of share the knowledge. All right. So we are Accelerate Auto. We founded back in 2014. Tesla at that time didn't really have a leasing and financing program, especially for the business sector. And so we did a lot of work. We still do a lot of work with Tesla in the business leasing, personal finance as well. Matter of fact, our CEO, KJ Gimbel, wrote some of the first financing for Model S's back in 2012, before even Tesla had any lenders on their website available to finance these vehicles. We're all prior Tesla leaders, EV leasing experts. We go back with this community a long ways, collectively till about 2011. Malad, you heard from him a moment ago. He's the COO here. He actually joined Tesla in 2011, basically selling Model S's off of a photograph.
Roadster, actually.
Roadsters, yeah. And then set up the state of Texas for Tesla as well. So yeah, we go far and wide with Tesla. And I'm going to reintroduce you to Malad Davuti for just a quick snippet, who you are, why you're here.
Thanks, Brent. So my name is Malad Davuti. Nice to meet everybody. As Brent mentioned, I'm the CEO of Accelerate. I spent 7 years at Tesla, from 2011 to 2018. I started Tesla Texas, as mentioned, back in 2011, selling Roadsters. Early, before Model S existed, Model X. I went on to start the used vehicle and the trade-in program for the company and expanded that globally. Once we finally launched Model 3, that's when I left and teamed up with KJ to figure out ways that how can we help push the needle forward outside of Tesla to increase the EV adoption. And one of the biggest ideas that we had was coming from the used car department, or starting the remarketing in the used vehicle organization. Having coverage for when cars are getting when these EVs are aging was a big deal. It was a huge deal for folks. So the original idea was, hey, let's create this really for us and by us, right? Like, since we are part of this community, we wanted to make sure that there's a lot of poor actors out there. We didn't want to give them an opportunity to kind of ruin it for everybody. And the only way that we knew how to do that is if we did it ourselves, and we did it the right way, the way that we would want to see it, the way that we can buy it for ourselves, because we're all owners, for our family members, because they're all owners, and for all of you. And that's quite literally exactly why we created XCare. And we'll talk a lot about that in detail throughout the town hall.
Thanks, Malad. Once again, my name is Brent Seavey, Vice President of Business Development here at Accelerate. I came on board about 4 years ago to help grow our XCare product. We go back a long ways. Malad and I were on the same team setting up the remarketing department at Tesla. We all drive Teslas. We're all active members of the community. And honestly, XCare is a labor of love. We set this up to really help take care of our community and make sure that our community had good, solid coverage for their vehicles. Not only that, but coverage that actually works and a company that actually cares. So we set this up to really be something that could be a great asset to our community. And frankly, all of us help to build Tesla, and we want Tesla to succeed. And we want EV adoption to succeed. So we'll go into that in a little more detail in a moment. I'll just introduce Libby. She's our customer success manager. Carrie Clark, senior advisor, worked with both of these guys at Tesla. Amazing folks, just did great work getting things set up for the company. Carrie actually went over to Australia. He helped us set up Texas, and then he went over to Australia. He went over to the UK. Dayan helped us set up the state of Texas, helped to do lots of training for early Tesla sales people and delivery people. Libby worked up in the Midwest with me. I'm out of Naperville, Illinois, normally, which is outside of Chicago. She's up in Minnesota. She does an awesome job helping our clients get through claims. If there are any issues, concerns, anything that needs a second look. Libby has been doing an amazing job for us here at Accelerate and for our community. So that's a quick intro to us. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of things. Next slide. All right, we like to call this our core values. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but our top value is to get more butts in EV seats. And what that basically means is we want people to be able to enter into the EV space. We want them to be able to stay in their EVs. These vehicles can be rather costly to keep over time. There's a lot of people who are new to the EVs, They don't really understand them. They're kind of a strange place for a lot of people. And so having the ability to have a warranty cover you and give you the confidence to come into the EV space is really, really important. I think a lot of people are a little bit, and rightly so, sometimes a little apprehensive about buying an EV and the expensive, things that need to be repaired. And there's a level of understanding, different levels of understanding. So we like to make sure that everybody can come into the space, come into an EV, and actually stay in their vehicle and be protected. Secondly, we are customer obsessed. Everything that we do from the customer experience backward, right? We want to make sure that the customer experience is always best. We don't even refer to our customers as customers internally. We refer to them as members, right? We're all in this together. We're all a part of this, and we're all helping to protect our community. So when you join XCare, you join this effort of ours to keep our community covered. And thirdly, we're long-term solution focused. What that means is we're not looking to solve problems that are here today. We've already solved a lot of those. We're looking to solve problems that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, as these cars age out, as new technology gets introduced to these vehicles. As we're constantly staying ahead of the curve to make sure that the customer experience is always the best possible experience for that time. So you have to look out ahead. You have to look out at issues and concerns that are going to come up 3, 4 years in the future. Just like when we started XCare. When we started XCare, all the cars were under warranty. All the batteries and drive motors were still under factory warranty. And so we got to a point where batteries started coming out of factory warranty, either for miles or for years. Well, that became an issue that we had to be concerned about. And we'll go into that in a little more detail in a moment. But essentially, we have to keep looking to the horizon to make sure that when these things become part of our reality, we're already prepared to make sure that our people have the best possible experience. And last, but very much not least, increasing EV value, right? If people are reluctant to buy EVs, and if you can't resell your EV, sooner or later, the value of those cars over time goes down because less of a market for something equals a lower value. So when there is a good, competent warranty product that you can get for your vehicle or transfer when you sell the car to a private buyer, it just increases the overall value of these vehicles in the marketplace. So being able to have that kind of coverage, that kind of peace of mind, really, really helps in the long term of keeping values of these vehicles up. Next slide, please. Okay. So factory warranties, a lot of folks don't spend a lot of time figuring out what their factory warranty is. Truth be told, a lot of people don't even know what the factory warranty is on their vehicle. So I'll just go over some basics here just to give folks an idea of what kind of warranties are on EVs. First and foremost, bumper to bumper warranty. Everybody's kind of aware of this, right? You have the car for the first 3 to 5 years, the first 36 to 60,000, 50,000 miles. That's the time, that's the honeymoon with the manufacturer, where if something goes sideways, you take it to the service shop, they take care of you. They, even down to very small things are taken care of by the manufacturer during that period. I like to refer to as a honeymoon, right? And then you've got the high voltage battery warranty. And oftentimes that warranty is also coupled with the drive units of the cars, and it's more of like a total powertrain warranty. And the high voltage battery warranty on most EVs is anywhere from 8 to 10 years and 100 to 150,000 miles, depending upon the manufacturer. Now, these are the big battery pack that everybody hears about that is 15, 18, $12,000. That is the place that basically all the energy is stored to drive the car. It's basically a big gas tank, but instead of a gas tank, it's filled with electricity to run the car. And of course, the drive motors, familiarly for people just entering this space, the drive motors are like the engine of the car, right? They take that fuel from the battery and propel the car. So you've got a bumper to bumper warranty that covers most things on the vehicle, and that's from the manufacturer. And then you have the high voltage battery warranty, oftentimes coupled with the drive motors, like a powertrain warranty. Next slide, please. So I love this slide. Why XCare? Why now? XCare was designed because of the fact that it didn't exist. And I know that might sound a little bit silly, but in the warranty area, there are lots of players, for good or for bad. I'm not here to cast aspersions on any particular company, but their primary focus has been for the last 50, 60 years or so on internal combustion engine cars. So there, a lot of the verbiage in their contract is very specific to those types of vehicles. They're really at the point where XCare was created, there was nobody that would touch an EV with a 10-foot pole. Nobody wanted to warranty these cars. And so we saw a very real need to make sure that these cars could be covered by a good, solid quality warranty, right? One of the things that is very core to how we do what we do is that all of us are prior Tesla and EV leasing experts, EV space experts. And because of that, we understand these vehicles at a level of understanding that's just much higher than just hired guns at a warranty company. We know these cars, we drive these cars, we've sold these cars, we've demoed these cars, we've set up systems at Tesla, we've set up departments at Tesla. We understand these vehicles, and we understand the biggest player in the room, which is Tesla. I know we'll have people on this call that may also have other EVs. Understanding that these vehicles, the componentry of these vehicles is very, very specific to electric vehicles. And having that understanding is really important to being able to cover these cars properly. The second point here, very simply, is transparency, experience driven. Touched on that on the last slide. We want to make sure that everything is available for you to make a good choice. Our warranty contracts are up on our website. You can literally click on them and read through draft copies of them. I've had folks call me and say, oh, so-and-so warranty, is offering this or that. And I say, well, did they give you a copy of their contract? And invariably, no, they sent me this brochure and they said that everything's covered and everything's good. And I said, well, send a copy of the contract. And oftentimes they're very reluctant to do that. We are very transparent. Our pricing is online. Our contracts are online. You can literally read every single word in an XCare draft contract right online, privacy of your own home, without giving us an ounce of your information. And we designed this with a view towards all service experiences. If you've been around Tesla for a while, if you've been around Lucid, if you've been around Rivian, if you've been around some of these folks, we call that the direct to consumer service model, which is different from the dealership service model that a lot of people are used to. You take your car to Audi, you take your car to Porsche. You know, the service experience is different there than it is at these other companies such as Tesla. We'll just say Tesla. It's the biggest company in the room right now. But the Tesla service experience is very different. It's very high tech. It's very app driven. It's very low touch. They don't really like to deal with warranty companies. They don't like to deal with anybody outside of their insular world. And so we had to design XCare to work around that reluctance, right, to deal with warranty companies. The service departments at Tesla are some of the hardest working people on this planet. I'm going to give them absolute props. These people work very, very hard. They have a tremendous amount of flow going through their service shops. And so when we set up XCare, we had to set it up where we interacted with them as little as possible. We didn't want to impose on them a lot of additional work or frustration or aggravation. So our system is really set up to be very, very almost transparent to the service experience for them until much later on in the process. And this last point is my favorite point, and I can't stress it enough. We don't cover the EV community. We cover our EV community. When you call XCare, you are talking to somebody who drives an EV. You're talking to somebody who helped set up Tesla, who helped, you know, forward this technology to the world. So understanding that is kind of critical to understanding why we do what we do and how we do what we do. Next slide, please. I've been saying this for so long. I love it, Dashingly Handsome. I made these slides up originally, and I kind of put Dashingly Handsome in there as a joke, and it just seems to have kept going. This is one of my favorite sayings: cheap to maintain and expensive to repair. All of us have had a gas engine car. Likely all of us on this call have had a gas engine car, right? So you have to go in every 3 to 6 months for oil changes and filters and different servicing and transmission fluid flushes and all this other stuff. And you know, every time you go in, you basically back in the door with your credit card over your shoulder, and you hope it doesn't hurt too bad. And it's 150, 180, 210, 270. And it's just like 2-3 times a year like that. And so over time, maintaining a gas engine car is an expensive endeavor, whereas EVs are a different breed. They take a lot less maintenance, in other words, scheduled type of maintenance. Matter of fact, Tesla has no real scheduled maintenance. But when stuff breaks, it's rather costly to repair. These components, you know, when they do go sideways, are quite costly. So there isn't a lot of this kind of drip, 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 pulling money out of your wallet in small pieces. It's more when something breaks, it's a rather large, you know, financial expenditure. This is what I like to call the usual suspects. These are a lot of different systems on these vehicles that are somewhat exclusive to EVs. You'll see like these different displays, media control units. You're seeing a lot more of those in gas cars as well, but primarily a lot of the stuff that you're seeing on your screen right now are fairly EV specific to a lot of it. And the extended service agreement from Tesla is considered the gold standard of EV warranties. And so when we set up XCare, we benchmarked the Tesla extended service agreement, and we actually added some additional features that even Tesla doesn't offer, like trip interruption. If you're more than 100 miles from home, we assist towards bills. We have rental car reimbursement, and we have a lot more flexible terms. Right now, Tesla only has a 2-year and 25,000 mile extension to their warranty. With XCare, you can get another 6, 8, 9, 10 years additional to your warranty. So we really wanted to make sure that if people wanted to keep these cars for a very long time, or they wanted to keep the car for a certain amount of time and then sell it with a warranty forward to a private buyer, that they would have the flexibility of being able to do that. So I know a lot of people on this call are trying to figure out maybe what term you'd like to go with. Sometimes it's good to go a little bit long because then you have a warranty to market your vehicle with. Yes, Milan.
Yeah, and some of you might not currently own one, right? And maybe you're looking to get into one. And some of the problems that we were seeing many years ago was the reluctancy of being able to buy being able to buy a 5-year-old car, right? Because you're already outside of factory warranty. This is all new technology for most people. We don't know exactly what can happen. And to be frank, in all honesty and transparency, there's very little that any one of us can do to prevent these things and these items to go out. Like an MCU, for instance. If you wake up one day and you start your car and your screen is black, it's not like you did something, right? But that's a $2,000 replacement. And with these components with electric vehicles, fortunately, unfortunately, you can't really repair most of this. You just really have to replace the parts, which drives up the cost, but it decreases the amount of time it takes to get your car repaired. So there's good and bad to it. I will say we are all proponent, we're all pushing the EV kind of mission forward. This is not something that is normal. It's not like you see this all the time, but there's really nothing you can do to prevent it from going out. And that is, I think that's really important for people to kind of understand.
Yeah, I like to say, how do you know that your TV doesn't work? When you turn it on and it doesn't work. And electronics are like that very often. There isn't a lot of runway to when they break. They just, you get an alert and it says this doesn't work anymore, and you go, I can't drive my car anymore. A lot of gas engine cars, I mean, if your little screen there is out, you can't maybe adjust your radio or your climate control, but you can still drive the car, right? You stick the key in and you can still drive the car. With a lot of these vehicles, if that center screen is out or other components are out, you basically have a 5,000-pound paperweight in the driveway because you can't drive the car without accessing that screen and putting in the desired things that you want to do.
And in fact, Dan, let's go to the next slide real quick, because I think this is kind of, so I know this is a lot to handle. And we put this in more recently, actually, because we really want people to truly understand, what you see on the very right side is this is what the customer told us was happening, right? From their own words. Hey, my active spoiler is not working. My seat didn't tilt. My sunroof didn't open. No cold air was blowing, right? And what you see to the left is that's what was diagnosed by, in these cases, these are all Teslas, and you can see it's a mix. There's Model X, there's Model S, there's 3s, there's Ys. And what you'll notice is that the average repair order, and by the way, all of this we covered. I think that should have been, that was in the implication there. But the average repair order that we see is roughly $1,200. Now, once again, you're not seeing that multiple times a year or something like that, right? So, but unfortunately, if your touchscreen stops working on your Model Y, well, that's almost $2,100, right? So if you have 3 of these events over the course of 5 years, that the warranty pretty much pays for itself. And then some, right? And then some, because it's not like it goes away. You can still use it in case something continues to happen. So, because we don't limit that in any sort of way. So if you plug in your car, I just have it on my mom, plug your car in, didn't charge. That's an onboard charger issue. Her cord was fine. So you had to replace that, and that costs $2,000 to $3,000. So this is what transparency looks like, right? We're not sitting here saying these are terrible cars. We love them and we drive them every day.
I'll never drive another car.
I'll never drive another car either.
Seriously.
We've been doing this for over 12 years now. But transparency matters. We have to be truthful about it and really showcase these are real world situations that people went through. This is what the part was that they had to replace, and that's how much we paid out exactly. And we've paid out millions and millions of dollars of claims. So this is just a really small list, even though it's kind of a large list, but at least just so you can get an understanding of here's just some of the usual things that we've seen.
Now, one thing I'd like to point out too, thank you, Milan. One thing I'd like to point out as well is Tesla, as I alluded to earlier, these are some hardworking folks, right? Tesla is building cars faster than they can build service centers, faster than they can build capacity to fix these cars. So the service experience is not based upon repairing components, it's based upon replacing components. Because to pull out a component and to put in a new one is a lot quicker than to pull out a component, tear it apart, replace different parts of it, put it back together and put it back in the car. So the whole service experience is basically managed at Tesla to get cars through as quickly as possible. So you'll see like the seat replacement on the 2016 Model X for $4,000. The seat didn't tilt. Well, they're not going to tear that seat apart and replace the tilt motor and the mechanism. They're just going to take the seat out and put a new seat in because of the expediency that they need to have in their service lane. So this and many other things. Again, it's not a problem with Tesla. It's just the way that Tesla does things currently in their service departments. So yeah, we end up having to understand all of this to adjudicate these claims as well as we do. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have two. This is again, this is more toward Tesla here in this screen. We have two different options for Tesla owners. We have the premium option, which is very comprehensive coverage. It also includes the high voltage battery pack, also includes the drive motors of the car. Of course, if they're still within factory warranty or not, we cover them if they're going to leave factory warranty during your ownership experience. Covers all of these major components, a lot of the stuff from the page before, a lot of stuff from the usual suspects slide as well. We do not have a term maximum. A lot of coverages will have a maximum amount that they will pay out for the term of the warranty. We do not. So if you have a $5,000 warranty and you experience $10,000 worth of issues over the course of that 6 or 7 years, all of those issues will be addressed. The only limit that we have is that no single repair can exceed the current value of the car, but we're not likely to see a claim like that. We do have payment plans available. They are currently not online. We refer to as off menu or offline payment option. It is a 0% payment option of 20% down and 11 equal payments of the balance. There is no credit check. There are no fees. It is simply 20% down and 11 equal payments of the balance. It will not go on your credit bureau. So if you're working a mortgage or something else where you don't want to affect your credit bureau, we do not report this to the credit bureau. It's simply that the coverage is the collateral for the loan. And then on the right, you're going to see battery and drive unit. That is a very specific coverage for folks that want to cover those big ticket items, right? A battery pack on a Tesla can be anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 on average, depending on what size battery pack you have. The drive motors can be anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000, $8,000. So with labor. So understanding that these big components give a lot of people a lot of sleepless nights. We came out with a secondary coverage called battery and drive unit, which just specifically covers those components, right? If you're like, hey, listen, if something happens to this car and it's a couple of $1,000, I'm not going to sweat that. That's not going to keep me up at night. But gosh, if I came out to this car and like my $15,000, $16,000 battery just suddenly didn't work and it had to be replaced, that would cause me a great deal of, financial harm. This is for those individuals, right? And it's also for individuals that are heavy users, right? Lyft drivers, Uber drivers, visiting nurses, healthcare people, people that have route salespeople that drive 3-4 different states and can put on 20,000-30,000 miles a year. Oftentimes, these are folks that are like, hey, listen, I want to cover this battery and drive motor out a long ways. I'm going to put a ton of miles on this car, and I want the reassurance that if these big components go sideways, that I have somebody there to protect me. So, and a lot of times as well, if you're in an older EV with maybe higher miles, 80, 90,000 miles or so, and you want a long-term warranty, and you look at the price of that warranty and it's a little bit steep, but you're like, hey, listen, my biggest concern, my biggest heartache, the biggest thing that keeps me up at night is the battery and drive units. I want to go ahead and just cover those and I can cover the other incidentals by myself. Fantastic. Battery and drive unit is a great option for you. So while you're looking through your different options online, when you come to the options page, which gives you several different terms that you can look at, if you go to the upper left, you'll see a button that says battery and drive unit. If you click on that tab, you can actually see the different terms for battery and drive unit for your particular car as well.
And just for added clarity, because the premium is available for all electric
All
vehicles,
EVs, yes.
all battery electric vehicles.
Mhm.
We do only cover battery electric vehicles. So if you have a plug-in hybrid, unfortunately, we did not build this for those types of cars. So, and the battery coverage, the HV battery coverage as part of premium, there are different eligibility parameters. We have it very transparently on our site. Once again, you don't have to give us your information to figure any of this out, right? You can simply just go on the tool, put in your vehicle information, and it will actually tell you. It will tell you if it does or doesn't, along with the price. So I would say if you haven't checked that out yet, please do and see if you're eligible. Obviously, we have everyone on staff that will be able to answer any questions if you have them. But the payment plan, we did bring this out more recently because we understand, these can be slightly expensive, and we want to make it more easier for people to purchase. The battery and drive unit, we reference that BDU. That is for Tesla owners only. It's just for Tesla vehicles. It's kind of like a pilot program, as Brent was mentioning. So we're just really kind of seeing how this goes. But yeah, the premium is kind of our all-in-one package for the most part.
Flagship product. Yeah, definitely. Real briefly, eligibility for battery and drive unit is 2017 or newer with less than 100,000 miles at coverage start. Okay. And the eligibility for battery coverage to be included in premium is that same eligibility. If you're purchasing premium, you have to be at 2017 or newer with less than 100,000 miles at coverage purchase. Next slide, please. So I alluded to earlier to the direct to consumer service process, right? It's a little bit different than you're used to from the dealership world, where you drive into the service lane and and everything's very manual and very personal, very high touch. Lucid, Rivian, Tesla, these companies are a lot more app driven, a lot more tech driven, a lot more what we call low touch, right? You make your service appointment through an app oftentimes. Very often you don't get to speak to a particular service advisor. Oftentimes you'll drop the car off out front and put the keys in the drop box, and basically they'll take everything from there. So that service process is a little bit foreign to a lot of people when they're coming into this space. But also it's a little bit, it's outside of the parameters of how normal warranties work. Normal warranties, there's a lot of communication between the warranty company and your service advisor, your service department. At Tesla, there isn't that ability, right? Very often they don't want to communicate with third parties. They don't want to cooperate with third parties. They don't want to add work to their day, right? Their day is already quite busy, and they would rather just be able to service these cars with a very low touch environment. So we had designed XCare to work around that process to basically liaise through our members to allow us to get the information that we need to properly cover your car. Next slide, please. So now there's a dealership and independent service claims process. This is the process that a lot of people are a lot more familiar with, right? Where you take your car into the service department, where your service advisor communicates with us directly. This is a lot of the model that we see with Audi e-tron, with Jaguar, with Porsche, with other members that we have from those manufacturers. If you're one of those owners that owns one of those vehicles, the warranty process will be very similar to what you're used to, where you simply take your vehicle into the service department. Our claims team deals with them directly to figure out the claim, to figure out the eligibility of whatever's going on with the car, and to take care of the servicing of the car.
We also have a question I want to make sure that we address, because I think it's actually it's a great question to ask. So I hope it's fair to ask, which I'm saying, yes, totally fair. So as we approach the end of our Tesla warranty, are there any appointments which you recommend to schedule prior to the XCare warranty taking effect? So I personally would always recommend you do that. Just in general, I think it's like, when you're still in that window, you might as well get it checked out, especially your battery, right? Because if sometimes there could be issues with the battery that are not flagging any errors to you. And Tesla does have a battery diagnostics tool that will be able to kind of run through it. So I would always recommend that. We don't require that, right? That is not something a requirement you have to do before purchasing XCare. But as far as what, just for our 2 cents, 100%. I think all of us would agree with that. That's just always a safer bet. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's kind of just it's just a good opportunity to take care of that. The second question there is if there's is there I think a suspension period prior to the XCare warranty taking effect? There is. So when you purchase XCare, it takes 30 days in order for it to activate. So there's a 30-day grace period and a waiting period. So during that 30 days, you could actually get all your money back since the warranty hasn't activated yet. So if you purchase today, your warranty would actually start in 30 days. And that's for us because we don't send inspectors out to check your car. We want to make sure that when you purchase, it's all about issues that you see after you have your warranty. If you had issues prior to purchasing the warranty, those will not be covered.
Unresolved issues.
Unresolved issues. Yeah. So I think those two questions really go hand in hand. If you're still under factory warranty, please take it in. And because if there is any problems, you want to get that taken care of before you get this warranty, since XCare is really there for once you purchase it, something goes wrong, that's where we come in and we help you. So great question to ask.
I'd like to piggyback on that too, if I may, Malad. Thank you. If you're timing your purchase, right, and you're still under factory warranty, just make sure that whenever you purchase XCare that you back it out 30 days from the end of your factory warranty, so that you make sure there's no, lapse in coverage between the Tesla warranty or the Audi warranty or whatever and XCare. So always back things out about 30 days. Also, another thing to keep in mind, and it's a small thing, but not very, is that XCare pricing is based on 10,000-mile milestones. So if you're quite close to, say, going over 30,000 miles or going over 40,000 miles, and you're maybe 60 days or 45 days to the end of your Tesla warranty, oftentimes it makes sense to hop into XCare a little bit early, just to make sure that you're starting the warranty at the most advantageous price. So our pricing tool, I love the way we set it up. It's very transparent. You can put in various miles. You can put in 41,000 miles, and you can see if I went over 40, where would the pricing be? Is it worth me maybe burning a month or two of factory warranty to get in at this lower price point? So it's a very good way to give you a little bit of a tactical advantage to purchasing your warranty, and just to understand when you're the most advantageous time to get in.
And if you're about to buy a car that is out of warranty,
absolutely,
and you want to understand, okay, well, it's not just the vehicle purchase price, but I want to make sure I get the warranty with it, that this is where this tool really helps, right? Because now you can plug in all the different vehicles that you're looking at. You can see what the warranty cost is for the for each individual vehicle. I mean, that to me, like, that's really a significant amount of value, because then you're never in the dark, right? And also, we get calls all the time with people that are looking to buy cars and they want our 2 cents, and like really, kind of how to is there tips or tricks, and we can help out there too, to get you in something that we think is okay. And we're going to be honest with you. Right. There are going to be some cars where we're going to tell you should not buy that car. So, and
I've done that a few times.
I've done that a lot.
Yes.
Right. But we want to make sure that, first of all, especially if this is your first EV experience, that is so important to us, because your first experience could either make or break your rest of your lifetime. Are you going to buy another one the second time around? Right. So we want to make sure that you're going into this with a significant amount of or in a good position. Right. And we are quite literally the best people in the world to be asking these types of questions to, because we've been doing this before these vehicles even existed.
I like to say I've forgotten more about Tesla than a lot of people know. Next slide, please. All right, so we got a quick discussion break here. I'm gonna see if are there any more questions in the queue right now?
Yes, so actually we have a question from Joe Grossman regarding battery claims due to damage from road.
All right. Yes. Okay. So that's a good question. I'm glad that was brought up. So if a good way to think about a warranty is if something fails from the inside out, it's generally a warranty claim. If something fails from the outside in, then it's more of an insurance claim. So if the battery internally fails, right, some tabs, battery tabs or whatever welds separate inside the battery no longer functions, that's a warranty claim. If a cinder block goes up through the bottom of your battery on the freeway, you're calling your insurance company.
We literally actually just had a customer that asked that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was the exact the situation that they were in. They didn't own XCare quite yet, but they had physical damage that affected the battery, and I think it was $22,000.
Yeah, it was 22 grand.
Yeah, but luckily it was physically damaged.
Yeah.
So therefore that does qualify for auto insurance, right? Yeah. So that fortunately for that person, they're not out a vehicle or $22,000. They can simply just go through their insurance. But yeah, as Brett mentioned, if there's, and we with our battery warranty too, we also try to mirror the manufacturer capacity as well. It's not just only about fault, right? So sometimes you'll see like one of the clusters, because there's multiple clusters in these battery packs, right? So one of the clusters fails, then your maximum charging range is reduced. That's a problem that we've seen every once in a while. And they usually just kind of replace the battery. That is the situation where XCare really comes and helps. Another situation is if it just literally shorts, right? It just doesn't even work anymore. Now that is a little more rare, but we have seen it. That's where XCare also helps. And then also if your capacity is less than 70% of the original manufacturer's capacity. Now I will say, fortunately, we don't really see that very much, almost ever, because it seems like most battery packs, even a couple 100,000 miles in and 10 years of age, are still retaining 90%, like 88 to 92% of the original range, the capacity. So, we do have that clause in there just in case if that were to change and all of a sudden you're retaining 50% of your original range, original battery capacity. XCare can help there, but luckily that's not something we've ever seen, but we do have that in case that were to change in the future.
Yeah, I like one of my favorite sayings is if it's 3 to 5% of the people that it happens to, but it happens to you, it happened to you 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's good to be able to mitigate some of these bigger things as well. Another thing to keep in mind is, like, again, from the outside in or the inside out, if you back into a pole and your parking sensor breaks, that's an insurance claim. If you are just driving the car as normal and your parking sensor fails, that's a failure of the component. So and a lot of people, when I explain this to them, they're like, oh yeah, no kidding, I understand that. But you'd be surprised, there's a significant amount of people that really don't understand where that line is from an insurance claim or a warranty claim. And so our EV experts and our claims experts are there to basically ascertain where that is, not only to cover your car if it is covered by XCare, which majority of the time it is, but also to steer you in the right direction if it is an insurance claim, to be able to say, yes, this could very well be an insurance claim. You need to speak with your insurance adjuster.
And this is where transparency matters. So like these questions to us are really good, so we can help answer them ahead of time, ongoing, right? Transparency really matters with this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Are there any other questions, Dan, that you've seen?
See that in the chat, somebody wants to know where you got that cool shirt, Dan. Is that Nordstrom?
Yes, it is actually. How did you know?
If there's anyone that wants to come off mute and ask a question too, this would be a really good opportunity.
Yeah, feel free to hop in.
Yeah, we're otherwise caught up on the questions in the chat.
But keep it PG. All right, awesome. Then visit our chat while we continue. If you come up with any questions,
only a couple more slides here.
We'll be hopping in.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. So XCare is really not just for a short bandwidth of people and experiences. We tried to make it as inclusive of people as possible, right? Like, for instance, the Tesla extended service agreement, you can only buy that if you're the original owner of the car and you're still within their factory warranty of 4 years or 50,000 miles. Whereas XCare is available to any owner of a Tesla, regardless of whether you're the first owner, regardless of whether you're still under factory warranty or have left factory warranty or long ago left factory warranty. So that's a big thing. We do cover rideshare. We do not cover rental, but we do cover rideshare, which means if you're Uber, a Lyft, if you're a livery driver, If you're somebody who is the driver of that car on a daily basis, yes, we do cover rideshare. A lot of coverages will not cover rideshare, but we're very, very happy to do that. And as I alluded to earlier, our battery and drive unit coverage is awesome warranty for those folks because they do plow a lot of miles onto these cars in a very short period of time.
And there's no cost difference for those folks either.
Yes,
So
no cost difference at all. A lot of folks, if there's some kind of professional rider or something on the contract, it's another $350, $500. We don't charge any extra. We just cover you. It's really important to stress that non-salvage, non-lemon cars. Listen, there are a lot of salvage cars, lemon cars that are perfectly good cars. Understand that, that's fine. It's just that there really is no warranty that covers those vehicles. So you have to weigh off for yourself whether that's a good purchase or not based upon, I guess, the price point you get into the car. Is it worth it? Because you're going to have to self-insure those cars.
and if you're looking at a salvage car, if you don't currently own one yet, and that's something you're considering, I would also be cautious about your ability to supercharge, because Tesla has to turn that back on, and there's like a validation process. A lot of people don't know that. So that is something I think is really important to stress. But yeah, as Brent said, I mean, that could very well be, yeah, they validated it, they're good to go. You can now use superchargers, but if they didn't, you literally can't use the supercharger. So you're blocked until you go through that verification process. So there's a lot of different nuances with those types of vehicles. Fortunately, unfortunately, but I wanted to stress one other thing about the kind of, because we did benchmark the ESA, and myself, I helped design that in a lot of ways for Tesla. You know, there was a lot of internal struggle that we didn't really want to expand on that type of product in a lot of ways. It was kind of like a necessary evil, which I always kind of disagreed with, and hence why XCare is now here, because we wanted to do what we couldn't do internally, which was, let's not put limitations on this. Let's put a bunch of variability in terms and longevity. And it doesn't matter where you buy the car, you know, have different deductible options, right? So we just wanted to really care, once again, customer obsession, right? What would the customer want to see? Do they just want to see one option and one option only, and nothing else that only goes a couple of years, or a freedom to choose, right? And that's you know, that's why we come in. There's also, you know, and we don't have any of those limitations. So I think it's really important to note.
No, it's very good point, Milan. Also, mileage eligibility. Again, if you want to purchase XCare for your vehicle, it has to have less than 125,000 original miles at time of purchase. And if you wish to have the high voltage battery included in your coverage, remember you have to be a 2017 or newer with less than 100,000 miles at time of coverage purchase. Just wanted to re-stress that again. Otherwise, yeah, let's move on. Okay, the payment plan. I touched on this a little while ago, but it's good to have it up here graphic. Some people are very, very visual. I'm very visual. I like to see something. So you can see that this particular example here, for a $3,800 warranty, the down payment would be just over $766 and 11 equal payments of $270 and change. And that would take you out. So basically after 1 year, your coverage is paid for. And the 3 years after that are just cruising.
Yep.
It's really nice. And it's a nice way to get into it without having to go into a credit card or into your savings for almost $4,000.
Yeah, and for the sake of transparency here, once again, no credit check, no application process in any sort of way.
Nope.
This is just an easier way to purchase it.
Absolutely.
Simply as that. In
Absolutely.
fact, there are fees that we eat just to allow the customer to purchase it a little bit easier, right? So we went above and beyond. Once again, customer obsession is really our main core tenet here. We went above and beyond and say, hey, it's worth to eat the fees to get more, to allow more people to have the potentiality of having a broader either span of vehicles they're looking to buy. You know, if you're stretching to buy a $25,000 Model 3, then we understand that buying a $4,000 warranty is not an easy thing for a normal person to do.
Yeah.
So that's why we have this. And like we said, we're trying to drive the adoption forward. This is the reason why we do things like this. So there's no application process. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you
have to qualify.
Yeah, there's no qualification or anything like that. And once again, this is not on our site yet. We are working on it. In the next couple of months, we'll have it up on there. So if you do want to take advantage of this, select your term, input your information, kind of go all the way to the end and simply stop before the payment. And one of us will reach out to you. And then that's where you say, I want to take advantage of the payment plan instead of just purchasing it all up front.
And I'd like to piggyback on something you just said, Malad. Thank you. Is a lot of times now that we have the payment plan available, folks are like, man, I could only afford a 2-year coverage at, right now. But now that I have a payment plan, I can actually afford a 4-year, a 5-year, a 6-year even, because I was willing to lay out, X amount of money, but now I can actually go longer with my warranty. So this has really been a boon for people that really couldn't dive in for 4, 5, 6 grand, that now have an ability to come in and get a nice long warranty on their vehicle and pay it off over a year. So it's honest to God, it's been really pivotal for a lot of our community to be able to get in and afford these warranties.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. All right, continuous innovation. I'm going to hand this off to Malad because he's been working on these things for a while.
Yeah. So something about us. What's going to I think hopefully you've gotten a good understanding of the why we do what we do. I mean that to us that is quite literally what drives our everyday. That's what makes us different. We're not just here to sell you something that we don't like. Like we're here to actually give you an opportunity of something that we really love. An example of this is continuing iterations of how we enhance the customer experience for all of our current members. So even if you purchased 5 years ago, these types of things are coming soon. So for instance, to make the claims process a little bit easier, right now we either have to pay the service center directly, we email them a credit card information, or we communicate over the phone, or you pay for it and we simply reimburse you within a few days. We want to take that another step. So we want to be able to, what if we were to give you a card, right? What if we were to give you a smart card with your name on it, essentially like a credit card, except we authorize that credit card for the exact amount for the claim. So you can just simply use that, right? It makes it very seamless, makes it easy. You can put, and it'll be both digital and a digital card and physical card that you could put in your app if you're a Tesla, Lucid, or Rivian owner and pay for your service directly that way. Or you can just use the physical card if you're in person, right? So these are things we're trying to make it easier. We're trying to make the experience easier, and we continuously focus on that. Another thing is, we haven't shown here because this is kind of really new. We're working this year to be able to do at least for Tesla specifically, unfortunately, because they're the only ones that we can do this really with, but connect through your Tesla. So which means that we'll be able to proactively kind of see if there's any concerns, see if you schedule service, and kind of be true concierge and really help you throughout the entire claims process. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're hoping that we can do this, even communicate to Tesla on your behalf. So you can just sit back and not really have to do much. That's kind of in my mind, the best experience, the best type of quote unquote warranty would be someone else takes care of literally everything. And not just the communication, not just the diagnostics, but also the payment. And I literally just drop my car off and pick it up. So that is
future enhancement.
That's what we're working towards, right? And it's going to take a lot of steps to get there. And once again, transparency matters, right? This will be available to everybody. So it's not, you don't have to wait or something like that. This is just going to be retroactive for everybody. But this is what we're doing. This is how we push the needle forward. This is how we enhance your experience as an XCare member. And we won't stop. We won't stop. Even if you don't join, we're still going to do this, right?
With or without you.
Yeah, that's what matters to us. That's what we think is going to be the best experience. And that really changes. I think if you look at it like an industry as a whole, it really makes this something different. Yes. And in fact, we don't even know what the name is because we're kind of creating it as we go, but it is something different that we've never seen before. Because to be honest, this just doesn't exist anywhere else. Nothing like this exists anywhere else. So we're not following a trend. We're creating a path for everyone else to say, hey, here's the new status quo. You go be better.
Yeah.
Right.
Disrupting.
Yeah, exactly.
God, that's an overused word. But in this case, it is true. If you'll notice on the graphic, by the way, that is Elon Musk's XCare card. He is a member. No, he's not. Full disclosure, no, he's not. But we would welcome him. We actually reached out a couple of times on X. He has not gotten back with us. Next slide. All right, we're going to open up the floor for just a little bit more Q&A. I did notice that a couple of folks joined us at varying points during the broadcast. Keep in mind, we will be sending out a link to all the registered participants to rewatch this. We have been recording. So definitely, if you joined us late and you'd like a good solid recap, we will be sending that out probably sometime on Monday to all of the registered participants so that you can, or if you just want to go back over things, what did they say about the payment plan?
Right.
You can go right back into this recording and look over it again. Do we have another?
We have an amazing question. I think
love amazing
arguably this is one of the best questions to ask. Yes, good question. I totally agree. Okay, so thank you, Art, for this question. I'm considering purchasing a used Tesla, probably a Model S or X. Based on your experience, is there a sweet spot where considering your menu, the model, miles on a car and spec, you say, look at this year model and extended coverage is a better deal with one of these. Okay, so let me answer this in a few different ways. So yes, there is definitely a sweet spot when it comes to Model S and X, and they're different, right? So with Model S, I would honestly say, don't buy a 2012, 2013.
Because we don't cover them.
Well,
we only go back to 20.
We don't cover them, yeah.
Exactly.
But just generally speaking,
Yeah,
I run whether you get XCare or not.
Yeah.
I'm actually totally ignore XCare in this answer, right? For now, I'll circle back with that. I would stay away from 2012s and 2014s, with the exception of after October of 2014, if it was made. Tesla doesn't go by model years really, so like there's huge changes that occurred in October of 2014 that were pretty big. And those are that's when it started getting better.
All-wheel drive.
Yeah, all-wheel drive.
The new rear drive units.
The dual motor variation, the new interior seating, the first generation autopilot, all that came out in October of 2014. I would say the sweet spot for Model S is middle of 2016, which is essentially the new front fascia. So if it doesn't have that black circle or oval, I'd say that's a good sweet spot. Those are great cars. They're also really cheap right now.
Yeah, there's good.
There's a huge, that's a lot of bang for your buck. Like you can get a P100D, I think for like $40,000, like $35,000 right now. Like a 2016, like late 2016. That's a wonderful vehicle.
And a gorgeous car.
And a gorgeous car,
yeah.
Right? So I think that's the sweet spot, just because that's the most bang for your buck. When it comes, now let me circle back with XCare on that. When it comes to XCare cost, once again, use the tool, transparency, type in all these vehicles and you can kind of see the cost, but it's based on a matrix. So it's the older the car, the higher the mileage, the higher the cost for the term. But what I would say is in this scenario, if you're buying an older car, try to get one with lower mileage, right?
Yes.
And that way the XCare cost is going to be significantly lower. So like buying one that has 78 or 80,000 miles versus buying one that has like 50,000 miles, it's going to be a pretty big difference in cost.
Yeah.
I don't know it off the top of my head. We have a lot of different pricing. It's really complicated. That's why we have the tool for everyone to use. But go ahead and just plug these things in and just change the odometer, and then you'll see for yourself exactly what I'm referencing.
And you don't have to put your personal information in every time either. Just go in the tool, play around, change different parameters. I think a lot of folks, when they go into the tool, they kind of take it all the way out to putting their information in again and again. You don't have to do that. Just use the tool as a calculator, simple calculator.
So for Model X, this is a totally different answer, right? Because they came out in different times. Yeah, sweet spot for vintage Model X. Okay.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to be really brutally honest. And you know, I just want to make sure people are making good decisions here. Do not buy a 2016, 2017 Model X. I don't care what the situation is or how much it costs. Do not buy a 2016 and 2017 Model X.
And I owned one. He's right.
Why? That was the first year that we made Model X. And it was hard. It was a very big struggle for us. This was by far the most complicated vehicle to ever be engineered at that time. Now we have a Cybertruck, which I've been driving mine around for a couple months. Those are absolutely amazing. Yeah, totally different scenario. But with Model X, it was difficult. It was difficult for us to get it right. We made a ton of changes after that for just that first year.
Oh God.
So I would say 2018 on up. Just totally ignore 2016, 2017s.
Now, if you own a 2016 or 2017, buy XCare right now.
Right now. Yeah. In fact, like just for honest transparency, we lose a lot of money on the 2016 Model X's, and we know that.
Yeah.
But we care about our owners and we care about EV adoption, and we don't want, we want to make sure people are covered. So, we take the hit, we take that risk, and we do that on purpose. But yeah, do not buy a 2016, 2017 Model X. If you're looking for a Model X, at least a 2018. If you want, we do cover the
Falcon miles low.
Yeah, and we do cover the Falcon Wing doors now, and the Falcon Wing doors are complicated. 4 actuators on each one. There's sensors inside the panels. They come like misaligned. Those actuators fail. So yes, we've seen it, and there's like the hinges and the mechanic. And there's just a lot. It's an overly engineered vehicle. And that's something that Elon was very adamant about having it. That's the reason why they still do. But yeah, we do cover the Falcon Wing doors. Unless it was physically damaged, right? Unless you got into a car accident or something like that, which, that goes through auto insurance. But yeah, 2018 on up, I would say the most bang for your buck for Model X for resale value, if you're curious about that, 6-seater. If you get the captain row seating, that is definitely the most bang for your buck. Families love that because you can separate the kids in the middle seat, and then you can walk right between them and have access to that third row really easily. So that tends to be much better resale value if you're thinking about that. The worst resale value for Model X is the 5-seaters, and the 7-seaters are good as well. The 7-seater is just more complicated to get in that third row. That's where that 6-seater variation is I would say arguably the best. With regards to the newer S's and X's, I had a 2022 Model S. I absolutely loved it. I'm not gonna lie. There were some build quality issues and a little bit in the they didn't really make S's and X's in 2021 because they were trying to figure out how to do the whole the new generation. But 2022, they're actually really cheap right now. For whatever reason, I don't think that's gonna stay for very long. So that I would also look at if you're looking at an older Model S, and figure out what your budget is, but maybe look into a 2022 Model S. Like those are really, really great cars.
They're a good price point, right?
And they're really good price point right now. And I love that vehicle. How about a 2019 versus 2018 Model X, adaptive suspension? Yeah, so I would say 2019, 2018s are pretty good. Obviously air suspension and the if you're buying from a dealer, be very careful about what they say it has. Most
dealers have no clue what
most dealers have absolutely no understanding of what options are on the vehicle, and they'll just tell you whatever you want to hear. And I've seen so many people get lured in a car that didn't have what they were told it had.
Oh God.
So there are some strong dealers out there. I would say Current Automotive is a really good one. Recharge is another good one. There are some EV specific dealers where they care about understanding what the options are in the vehicles, because it can be pretty complicated for some of those years. Unlike today, it wasn't you just buy a car and it has everything. You really could pick and choose all the different variations. So like having does it have full self-driving? Does it have enhanced autopilot? How do I know that? Does it have free supercharging? How do I know that? Right. So these types of things. So just be a little bit careful. And I would say if you have any idea, I would say give us a call. And we could probably just help you through that too. But yeah, 2019, 2018 Model X, good cars.
Yeah, pretty much even shot.
Good cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
And battery.
Can I piggyback off one thing real quick?
Yes.
Because I've actually been shopping for used Model X's myself. I would absolutely not be doing that if it were not for XCare, just to be completely clear. I have witnessed so many dealerships that say it's a long range, it's a this, it's a that, but when you actually look at the pictures, it's a 75D.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you literally see the picture.
cautious.
Yeah, this is a 100 kilowatt hour battery. Really, it's got a 75 on the tailgate belt.
Yeah.
And I also was very torn between the 2018 and 2019 piece because of the enhancements and updates that were made to the suspension. If you get like a long range plus, you do get a significant amount more range as well. So that's kind of, I'm on the fence myself with that piece, but to the point.
Both cars are still pretty good though.
Yeah, both cars are great.
Yeah, they're fantastic cars. And I think even for me, it's just like, is the 50 miles of range worth the added expense I'll get by getting 2019? So your mileage may vary, but yeah, those are all fantastic questions. And I will echo everything that
sounded so disclaiming. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback on something that Dan just said too. And that is, you get a lot of dealerships that don't know what they have.
Yeah.
So they may be actually underpricing the car because they don't know they've got a long range. They don't know they've got 100, P100D. So they may be underpricing their cars. So get savvy in the market, see where pricing is at, and then understand sometimes when you're looking at just a golden opportunity. So as you go through this process, it becomes clearer and clearer where pricing should be, and then what you can see those kind of diamond deals.
Definitely. And Sonia asked a great question. So battery warranty, does it only kick in when it's dead, or does it cover if the battery goes below a certain degradation? So great question. You might have joined a little bit late. We touched on this earlier in the town hall. It also does cover degradation.
Yes.
So it's the same clause as the factory battery warranty for Tesla. If it goes under 70% of the original battery capacity, then you can make a claim to cover the battery. Now, I want to be very clear about this one, Sonia. We don't see that. That is not a thing that we've been seeing, very fortunately. And the reason being, and I want to speak, I don't want to be too technical here when it comes to battery technology, but I had a 2013 Nissan Leaf in Texas. And after about a year, that I pretty much lost like half of the capacity. And it was very odd. And I was like, why is this happening? And Nissan Leafs still do that. There's no, those vehicles didn't have battery cooling. So there's no HVAC system. It just heated the battery. So in climates where it's really hot, like Texas or Arizona or Florida, it beat the battery down and it really degraded it very, very fast.
Yeah.
All Teslas, and really the vast majority of EVs, with the exception of two, a Nissan Leaf or a Volkswagen e-Golf, all the other EVs, for the most part, and I'm about 95% confident with this, have climate-controlled battery packs. And whenever you battery control when you have the climate-controlled battery pack, even after a couple 100,000 miles and a decade of usage, we're still not seeing degradation lower than, it's like 88 to 92% of the original capacity.
Yeah.
So yes, we still have the clause for coverage. It's in there. Is it something you're probably going to see? I don't think so. We haven't seen it at all. But the clause is there just in case, if that changes in the future.
And I'm going to touch on one more thing as well, and that is that we get this question very frequently from people. If my battery warranty is still in effect, why do I have to buy, before the car is over 7 years old? The simple answer to that is if we only cover cars that are 7 years old and newer for the high voltage battery pack, we'll never be covering a car that's already outside of the factory warranty on the battery pack and already has a problem. So all of our pricing, though, includes, in the matrix of the pricing, it actually includes existing factory warranty, remaining factory warranty, both the comprehensive warranty and the battery and drive unit warranties. So you're never paying with XCare something that you're not getting, right? We know that it has an 8-year, 120, 150,000 mile warranty on the battery and drive motors. That's all baked into the pricing. So just understand that if you do want to cover the high voltage battery pack, it has to be a 2017 or newer with less than 100,000 miles of coverage start.
These were really great questions, honestly.
Yeah, it has been good.
These are legitimate questions, much better than previous ones, actually. So that's, thank you to all of you have asked these questions. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We are about 10 minutes over. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, transparency matters for us. Feel free to use our tool. If you want someone to reach out to you, simply select a term and then input your information. It's going to be the second page after you see the term pricing, right? After you select a term itself. What that does is essentially that goes in our system so we can reach out to you. We don't do, we don't spam you.
We don't robocall you.
We don't do that type of stuff. We don't like that at all. Once again, we're customer obsessed. Do we like all the spam and scammy phone calls that we get all the time?
No,
absolutely not.
We actually get them at XCare.
Yeah,
on our 800 line. We've been trying to get a hold of you about the warranty.
It's very irritating. So we don't do that. A human being is going to reach out to you and talk to you. One of us. It is one of us. So yes, thank y'all for joining. I think this has been really, really great. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always here for you, no matter what.
And by the way, we're all down here in Texas. We're getting together this weekend for a big get together of our company. So we appreciate your joining us today in this kind of combined town hall. Normally we're all in different locations all over the country. So it's been really nice to meet with you guys. So our family to yours, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure helping you out. Any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We also have contact us on the website as well. So if you have specific questions or you'd really like a handhold through the process, do not hesitate to reach out. You can hit custom quote button on our website and we'll reach out to you and really just walk through things with you as well. A lot of folks on the call are already folks that are actively speaking with one of us. That's awesome as well. Happy to pick this up on Monday, kind of go back over, some of the questions you might have come up with or help you through the process. On behalf of everybody here at Accelerate Auto and XCare, thank you once again for joining us. Have an awesome weekend. Go out and do something fun.
Yes. Talk to y'all soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.